Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin pardoning this dad, Scott Smith, who was arrested for disorderly conduct during his local school board meeting after his daughter was sexually assaulted by a transgender biological male student in a school bathroom. Well, that pardon's not sitting well with the George Soros-backed prosecutor who brought the charges. She still wants to go after the father after lashing out at Youngkin and accusing him of doing it for political gain, but the dad is hitting back.
She's one of the most evil people I've ever met. You know, unfortunately, I had to deal with her face to face with the prosecution of the sexual predator of my daughter. We need to vote her out. You know, if you live in a... Somehow Buddha Bibarai has not made news headlines. You know, everybody's talking about the big city Soros funded prosecutors. Somehow Buddha's flown under the radar.
She is partially funded by...
Yeah, well, let me tell you, she's one of the worst.
All right, so, Judge, explain this to me. This guy was extremely angry for his daughter being raped and the school covering it up. They arrest him, prosecute him, he gets pardoned, and the Soros DA still wants to put him in prison?
Yeah, she wants to put him in prison for disorderly conduct. Look, I think the timing is really important here. On May 28th, his daughter was assaulted by someone who identified as a female that day, put a skirt on, went into the girls' bathroom, and raped his daughter. So that's May 28th, folks. She reports it immediately, and on June 22nd, the guy is still not arrested. All right. He then goes and says to the school board, my daughter was raped and she reported it. They all said that's a lie. No one reported it. And now the superintendent of schools, he is now facing a charge of lying or for saying that they never received any information about the rape. I mean, they're just liars. And what they don't want is they don't want to be in a situation where they have to punish anyone. So they send the transgender guy to another school where he molests another girl. All right. Father is furious. The guy's not even arrested for the rape of his daughter. They're lying and saying that they never reported the case. They arrest him and charge him with obstruction, resisting arrest. That's overthrown. And now she wants him for disorderly conduct is baloney, okay? It's like he's acting out in a public place and it might be dangerous. Yeah, he's acting out because he's saying, my daughter reported a rape and you're not doing anything. Let me tell you how bad these people are. They are actually looking to stop reporting crimes to the police in their jurisdiction. They don't even want to tell the cops about crimes occurring in their jurisdiction. And she's a Soros prosecutor. She doesn't know what the heck she's doing. She's an ideologue, and that's the end of it. Now, let me just tell you one thing. Youngkin, when he went on television, he was really classy. He never mentioned the transgender thing. He just talked about rape. He talked about the schools being in a position to protect children and parents being in a position to protect children. He's a class act, this guy.
Yeah, Greg, he used that pardon very wisely.
I agree completely, Jesse. I have advice to Democrats. I wouldn't get mad at Republicans for helping parents. It's not a good look. What's next? You're going to go after puppies, nuns, and babies? They already do go after babies. And when you say that Youngkin helping parents is a political move, God, I hope so. Because if a moral stance can have a political impact, thank God for that. That's been the problem with this for forever. We are watching right now sexual exploitation of children. And they're using it through this lie of privacy. It might be the most amoral act since slavery. I mean, they're actually coming for kids. Again, the game plan is this. Create a false emergency. They say it's an attack on children's privacy by parents. That is not real. There is no privacy cocoon around kids from their parents. This is a false assertion that is made to allow activists and, be very clear, perverts, so they can say, this is our little secret to a child. Please, you don't have to tell mommy and daddy. We had this conversation about your sexuality or your genitals. In the old days, someone talked to your kid like that, he'd be in jail or he'd be dead. There is no privacy separation between parents and children. You should fight to the death on that one. And I still love the fact, and we said this a long time ago, the guy who's protecting kids right now from delusional Democrats, or actually cowardly Democrats and psychotic activists, and the least scientific medical theory in history currently being implemented on children, his name is Youngkin. If that's not proof that there is a higher power, I don't know what is.
Jessica, why didn't this DA just say, it's gone, he had a pardon, just move on?
Well,
why
her
the vengeance?
Well, her complaint is that there's an ongoing legal investigation, and he got involved in it, and she's also up for re-election. So the early voting window opened, and then suddenly Glenn Youngkin, who's obviously been aware of this story for multiple years, decided that he wanted to pardon the dad.
What is the ongoing investigation?
Looking into his case is still ongoing from what happened at the school board meeting. The kid is still under investigation as well, but
he was convicted. He was convicted.
I thought it was still open. He should have been convicted. Anyway, that's what she's talking about, that's the interference that she's referring to. But the larger problem with this, and Greg used the term false emergency, and this is a false emergency, but not in the way that Greg is talking about, because this is not about trans kids, and it's not about gender-neutral bathrooms. This was a girl who had been involved in a prior sexual, consensual relationship with this kid. So they had hooked up before. He was wearing a skirt that day, but there is no evidence that he is ever identified as a woman.
He was convicted. He was convicted.
Yeah,
Why
he just wears a skirt.
No, wait, he's Scottish.
You are
No, I'm not.
trashing the victim. I will not allow you to trash the victim.
Her case was not that this was about being attacked by a transgender person. It was a sexual assault. And then the district is responsible for the fact that they let him go. It was a sexual assault that he was convicted of. Don't ever say she had sex with him before, and therefore he can have sex with her whenever he wants. I have never said that.
Well, you know what?
Kinda did.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I absolutely didn't. And it is the district's fault that they didn't do anything, because then he moved on to another school and assaulted someone else there. But don't make this out about that it's about transgender people when it is not.
Can I respond? Because you directed it at me. I have to tell you, it is when you start looking at what's happening in women's prisons, when there are men saying that they are women. I'm not saying it's about transgender. I'm talking about men who are saying they are women to take advantage of women in private spaces. We can agree.
And the bathroom policy was not in place when the assault happened on top of it.
Well, this is all thing I want to say. So it's important to remember that Scott Smith's case and the issue and the images, that's what the Biden administration used in order to get that memo about treating parents like domestic terrorists.
Exactly.
And they used his video. Okay, so that's also why it matters. And I would imagine Glenn Youngkin, who said, I'm going to make sure that I'm focused on November of 2023. That's when they have their elections in their state, that he is going to make sure that they do the best job that they can on the Republican side. And the Virginia Democrats' negative reaction to the pardon, that's very valuable for Republicans going into this, because they just don't learn. I mean, when Terry McAuliffe said that about parents and children, what happened? Glenn Youngkin just sailed right in to a victory in that off-year election.
All right. Thank you, Dana.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.